Captain America: A Brave New World is out, and apparently it is one of the worst Marvel performing movies. And that is genuinely sad, but I hope that is a lesson for Marvel to learn and start doing things differently. I haven't seen the movie yet. However, I want to check out this nerdrotic video that says Captain America 4 is a disaster, a brave new world.
Who deals better with snakes, Indy or Thaddeus Ross?
I will not answer that stupid question.
Indiana Jones.
What you feeling right now, bro? What you feeling? I know you got to be
my
ecstatic.
dream and my nightmare all in one.
Yo, well, wake up, baby, because we are in paradise.
It's very important that little brown kids are going to look up and see a brown Captain America, but it's very important that other kids
Little
are going
brown
to look up
kids?
and see a brown Captain America.
A few moments later.
No, it doesn't
when I was
matter.
a kid, my favorite superhero was Incredible Hulk and Superman. And at no point in time when I was a kid watching Superman, I was like, no, I can't be Superman because he's white.
Brave.
Then why is it important? He just said two deflecting things. Like, why is it then important to represent a black Captain America when kids don't really think about it as a black or white? They just see a hero and they want to be that hero. It doesn't matter for them the color of the hero, you know? It doesn't matter at all. These are things that grown-ups think about, not really children.
New World is a great title for this film, just simply because it's a new beginning. It's a foundation on which Marvel will build the universe on now. And I think not only this character, but all the characters that surround him are new foundation building blocks for us to utilize to move on through the universe.
What the f are you talking about, man?
For me, Captain
Big
America
words.
represents
This
a
one.
lot of different things, and
This
I don't
brought
think
drama.
the term, America should be one of those representations.
Like, I understand what he wanted to say because he was, I think, in Brazil talking about the movie, and he wanted to say that you don't have to be American to appreciate Captain America. You can be any other nation because Captain America doesn't only represent Americans, it represents the captain behind it, captain of a nation. And that's what should be inspiring and letting other people want to see it and inspire other people to enjoy the character itself. And I do understand that point. But yeah, why? Why are we talking about, like, how he worded it was kind of sus for people.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Nerderotic.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million hellions and the 40% who haven't subscribed
yeah,
yet.
so
The
happy
Captain
for him.
America sequel without Captain America has had a lot of problems, not the least of which is not having Captain America in your Captain America sequel. Captain African American has been the very definition of production hell with multiple issues, including but not limited to those on-brand Disney Marvel delays, moving it from 2 prime summer spots into February, possibly to recapture the magic of Black Panther by putting it in Black History Month. Then they changed the title to Brave New World from New World Order because Disney Marvel is worried that that term was co-opted by conspiracy theorists who believe that globalists, bankers, and shadowy organizations are trying to establish a single authoritarian world government. Like, who would believe that? Then, of course, there were the well-reported ballooning budgets that were anywhere between $350 million
That
and
is
$375 million.
When movies became so expensive, why? What's the reason behind so much money? Is it the CGI? Like, if that is the case, can we just dish CGI? We don't need it. I mean, we do need it in, like, hero movies, but not that much, okay? Not that much.
That Disney later lied about and said was $180 million, which was actually the price of the reshoots. Now, Disney Marvel would never lie about a budget,
Shit.
except for the time they did with Doctor Strange and the Marvels.
But wait! There's more!
The box office projections have gone from a $95 million domestic opening over the 3-day weekend to a $90 million domestic opening over the 4-day weekend, which is $30 million less than Ant-Man Comimania. And one of the biggest shockers is the
Dude, and
corporate
that
critic
movie was
score on Rotten Tomatoes
awful.
is 51%. Maybe they were funded by USAIDs.
Go yourself.
And with all that, this was still a movie.
To be honest, it makes sense because Disney, in a way, is connected to USAID as well. And not directly, but there were videos I reacted to that are related. And Marvel and Disney are also together. So, makes sense. It makes
you
sense.
needed to do homework for. The good news is you have to watch The Incredible Hulk again. That's not so bad. The bad news is you don't need to watch any of the actual
terrible,
Captain America movies. The worst news is you have to watch The Eternals, and the most required viewing for this film is the god-awful Falcon and Winter Soldier. The most hateful and divisive piece of content Disney Marvel has ever produced. So to save our collective time and sanity, it could be best summed up with a few clips.
We need new heroes, one suited for the times we're in.
Mr. Wilson, but we cannot approve you. I'm truly sorry.
I'm giving him shit. We just talk. Hey, look, this guy bothering
No, he's not bothering me. Do you know who this is?
Oh, God. I am so sorry, Mr. Wilson. I didn't recognize you without the goggles. Message!
Please, you buy into all...
Yep, the messaging. It's always this messaging. And it's always the same messages, by the way. Like, yes, we get it. Like, everybody around the world gets it. Not only Americans in America, okay? Like, everybody in the world gets these messages already. Like, move on.
All that stars and stripes bullshit.
Those stars and stripes don't mean nothing good to me.
My world doesn't matter to America.
Message!
That shield is a monument to a bygone era. A reminder of all the people history just left out.
Message?
You of all people bought into that bullshit?
You're becoming a bit of a legend. Every day more people love you.
I didn't think there could be another Captain America until I met you. People are lost. They need a leader who looks like them.
Sam. What?
Carly bombed at GRC Supply Depot.
What? What's the damage?
11 injured, 3 dead.
To them, at least Carly's doing something.
You really think her ends justify her means? Then she's no different than him.
No, that's the definition of a terrorist.
Anybody else we fought.
She's different. She's not motivated by the same things.
Motivation doesn't matter when innocent people die. All right? Like, well, but the motivation... No. Innocent people dying is innocent people dying. And unfortunately, we see that right now with the wars around the world that we are having. Innocent people are the ones that are dying the most. Doesn't matter the reason. They are dying.
I like you,
That's
Sarah.
what matters.
You remind me of me.
You know, when you came to Madripoor, you reminded me of a young me.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, stars and stripes. And a black man. Black man, black man.
I'm a black man carrying the stars and stripes.
When Steve told me what he was planning, I don't think either of us really understood what it felt like for a black man to be handed the shield.
But it's still black.
The terrorists only set us back a bit.
You have to stop calling them terrorists.
They are terrorists.
But you have no idea how complicated this situation is. You know what? You're right. You've got to do better, Senator.
Well, I have to apologize in advance because it seems like we say this a lot with Disney Marvel films lately, with a couple of rare exceptions, but my expectations were low, but holy fuck, with Captain America Brave New World, it seemed from the corporate critics and some critics that I actually liked that the general consensus was that it was mid at best. But I have to respectfully, and with most critics, disrespectfully disagree. Every bit of trouble this film has had shows through on the screen. I think it can be best described as Disney Marvel making a post-Snyder, pre-Gunn DC movie.
I come to set every day with a smile on my face because we're making Captain America.
No, you're not. And here I am being a sweet summer child again because I thought this would be better because it's got a pretty good cast. The good news is it's not 2.5 hours long and it's not woke. The bad news is it feels 2.5 hours long. It has a series of events that might masquerade as a plot, but it ends up being a boring, convoluted mess. You know, I feel...
See, like the convoluted part, I do understand. The reshooting was one of the biggest issues in the movie. Once you like start something and you have momentum and everything's working together, and then you start cutting and patching and like you notice that, all right? It is not natural. You will always in movies notice that. And if it is not following an order and if things are out of place, it makes the whole movie confusing and it makes the whole movie boring.
Stupid for doing so much prep for this because this film has nothing to it. So don't worry about any spoilers because you saw everything in the trailers.
And why did they spoil Red Hulk? Like, that was so brave.
You want me?
Come and get me.
No, let's get this over with. I got shit to do today.
The film opens with Sam Wilson and Joaquin Torres intercepting an illegal sale of adamantium. Yes, you heard that right. They are able to retrieve it from Giancarlo Esposito in one of his 3 scenes in the film, and he is playing Sidewinder, and he just looks a little bit different than the version in the comics.
They changed the character just a little
bit.
General
That guy's
Thaddeus
an alien.
Ross, played by Harrison Ford, recast from William Hurt practically before his body got cold, and he invites Sam to the White House after this successful mission, and Sam decides to bring along Joaquin Torres and Isaiah Bradley. And you might be asking yourself, who in the hell are Joaquin Torres and Isaiah Bradley? Well, you wouldn't know if you haven't watched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or you might not remember, considering that the show came out almost 4 years ago. Isaiah Bradley is essentially the Tuskegee experiment Captain America, who was locked away by the American government for 30 years because he was black. And Joaquin Torres is the new Falcon with arguably the worst costume in the MCU. And I know it's very reminiscent of the one that's in the comics, and that one sucked too. The reason Sam was invited to the White House by Ross was so Captain African American could reform the Avengers and become the face of a treaty. And this is the biggest takeaway in the entirety of Captain America: Brave New World. Hold your hats, ladies and gentlemen, and prepare yourself. Marvel has finally acknowledged the giant celestial in the middle of the ocean, which you all knew from the trailer. Now, Sam Wilson's hand-me-down Captain America is the face of a cooperative international treaty where all nations get to share in the adamantium. And it's cute that President Harrison Ford wants to get this one thing done within his first 100 days. Trump would have made Tiamat the 51st state within his first 100 hours. Anyway, a song starts playing and it turns 4 people into Manchurian candidates, including Isaiah Bradley, and they try to assassinate President Ross, which you also saw in the trailer, which was later taken out of the trailer when a real Manchurian candidate tried to assassinate a real presidential candidate. Captain Anti-American is fired and Isaiah Bradley is locked up once again. Sam Wilson's Captain Un-American and Joaquin Torres' Eliacon are now hunting for clues for who's behind the mystery of the mind control. Something you think they would reveal towards the end of the film, and no, we find out right away. It's Tim Blake Nelson Samuel Stearns, last seen in 2008's The Incredible Hulk. And if you're waiting for that big reveal of what he would look like as the leader, well, he doesn't look like the classic version or even the updated version. He looks like what Chris Gore best describes as broccoli.
What the hell is even that?
And apparently the creators of Captain America: Brave New World had no interest in having the audience engage in the story in any way by giving us the leader's entire motivation in successive exposition dumps, for which there are many, in the middle of the film. Now the 5s and 10s of people in the theater will have time to check their phones, and they're really playing to the lowest common denominator. Unfortunately, that's the creators of Captain America: Brave New World. Turns out the leader is mad that Ross used him to gain power, and when he was promised a pardon, he didn't get it. So what's he want to do? Does he want to kill him? Does he want to take over the world? No, he wants to ruin Ross's career. First by engineering what turned out to be a fake assassination attempt, and then engineering a war with Japan. Nani? Japan believes that the U.S., ordered by President Ross, stole their adamantium only so the U.S. could give it back to them, and it creates an international incident. Now, Sam and Joaquin are able to escape the leader with the help of their teeny tiny friend, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I'm sorry, Ruth Bat Seraph. Now, I did say the film wasn't woke in this sense of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but it definitely has its MCU element, and it's Ruth Bat Seraph, who in the comics is a mutant superhero named Sabra, who is an agent of the Mossad, essentially Captain Israel. But for some strange reason, they've changed her character in the MCU, and now she's the security advisor for Ross and a former Black Widow. Now back to the war with Japan that the leader instigated. What? Now let's not get bogged down with the details in our world anyway, that the Japanese Air Defense Force has about 60,000 people with 714 craft, and our Air Force has over 600,000 people, half of which are active duty, and 5,000 aircraft, 32% of which are fighters. But it's pretend, so we'll let it go. It just seems that Japan is such an odd choice when the obvious one will be China. To be fair, this is Disney, a company that thanked a concentration camp in China and they want to continue pandering to them. Then it makes more sense. This big action set piece set around
they would not dare to mention China. Like, have you noticed, like, China would be the number one, you know, and they never mention it in movies because they know the moment they mention it in movies, that movie will be banned from China and that it's a big flop for them. they need that money.
Celestial Tiamat turns out to be a CG slogfest minor skirmish. Again, the leader's entire motivation for this is not to obtain power or get adamantium, it's to make President Ross turn into the Red Hulk so he'll look bad.
I knew he got big. I knew he got mean. I knew he got red.
Okay.
That's all I needed to know.
And that doesn't happen until the end of the film during the press conference, which you've all seen in the trailers, and Sam and the Red Hulk have their big final battle amongst the cherry blossoms. I wish I was kidding. And Captain African American defeats the Red Hulk by knocking him out with a vibranium wing and talking him down. In a scene that makes Black Widow talking the Hulk down look Shakespearean. And that's where the film ends. And it has all the bad things. It's anticlimactic, it's contrived, it's bloated, it's filled with exposition.
What's the message? What's the
CGI looks
point?
like dog shit. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but there are parts of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier that I like better, including Zemo and John Walker, who did nothing wrong. Captain America Brave New Low had none of that. And it doesn't help that Disney Marvel once again cast a director based on his identity rather than hiring him for his ability. To be fair to Julius Ona, I doubt this is his final version, which I've heard from people within Marvel is worse. I'm guessing all the politics were cut out, and I would believe that considering that the first film Julius directed was called... Oh, feel free to look it up for yourself on IMDb. And an argument could be made that this is as bad as the Marvels and the Eternals. Some of you fine folks may disagree, and that's okay, but please hear me out. The fact is, Captain Death to America had a lot more going for it than the Marvels. Specifically, the cast. Anthony Mackie is a good actor, and everyone loved him as Falcon, but he's a terrible Captain America, which has now been proven to be a failure not only in the comics, but in the films. Danny Ramirez's Falcon, despite that horrible costume, had some potential to be comic relief. Unfortunately, there was no comedy or relief. Carl Brumley, who is a great actor, playing the slightly less bitter in the beginning anyway, Isaiah Bradley, does his best, but it's just not enough. This brings us to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Bat Sarah. And what she does in Captain Un-American is what MCU heroes do. Beat the crap out of dudes, in this case, 3 times their size.
When are we gonna stop with this? Come on. Like, how many videos do I have to react to where men are getting literally destroyed by men physically? And when are we, like, how many times do we need to prove over and over again that this is not possible? That, like, you need other skills, maybe a range weapon, a sniper. Like, I would understand that.
I had a lot of jokes lined up for this character until I found out actress Shira Haas got cancer as a child and it stunted her growth. So props to her for surviving and overcoming it, and cancer. Still, why not just make her a mutant like you did in the comic books? You've already done it with Miss Marvel. She's fine as a security advisor. I just have a hard time believing that she's regularly beating the crap out of 250-pound dudes with no powers when she looks like she needs a permission slip from her parents to be there. Cast her as the Wasp. Think of the money you would save on effects. Giancarlo Esposito is always great playing Giancarlo Esposito, except in this. Yes, he was cast in the 11th hour, but again, he's only in 3 scenes. The one thing I was actually looking forward to seeing was Tim Blake Nelson as the leader. And if
I'm sorry, but there's so many villains and so many characters in the movie. Like, you know what I mean? It's not even a 2.5-hour movie, and you are introducing all of these villains and all of these different agendas and different reasonings, and you're just making the plot thicker for no reason whatsoever. Like, I do understand when you have all of this depth in a movie, but it's really not necessary in a movie like this, you know, and especially that I'm sure it's not going to be explained very well because the script is usually shite.
anyone could connect an audience with a piece of broccoli, it would have been him. Too bad it just came off as a monologuing piece of broccoli. And we round out the cast with one of the greatest actors of our generation who completely mailed it in, Harrison Ford.
What did you know about the multiverse before you signed up for this?
Nothing.
In an interview with Vulture, a technical crew member who worked on the reshoots said this: Harrison Ford was one of the crankiest performers I've dealt with, which was sad because I'm a fan, but he was very much a diva.
I mean, I'm sorry, but it's like deserved. He was always a diva. He is a diva, and he deserves to be a diva, okay?
Listen, Harrison Ford has earned the right to be a diva, but he definitely didn't bring his A game. His president, Thaddeus Ross, comes off, like this film, as a parody, and he doesn't even bother to try to play it like the late great William Hurt, who did a much better job. And unsurprisingly enough, it sounds like Harrison Ford was as miserable as I was watching his movie.
I don't want to break your bubble.
I think a big reason for that is because his mindset of going into this movie is, this is not a serious movie. You know, this is just a side movie that I'm doing, just entertaining movie for the kids out there. So he really didn't bring his Oscar abilities into the movie. He didn't try that hard, especially seeing the whole cast around him. Like, yes, we have good cast, but no one on his level. So why would he even, you know? You have that sometimes. You have those situations.
That's what the...
Watching his movie.
What did he say?
I don't want to break your bubble. That's what the money is for.
He got
to
paid.
silence that part of your brain.
He got paid.
We had to
That's
suit up
why he did
80-something
it.
Harrison Ford with these motion capture dots. Oh, to be a fly on the wall for that. To me, it seemed like he hated it and didn't want to do it. Yeah, no shit. And when Harrison was done, he was done. Everyone was trying to scramble to make him happy. That made for a very awkward work environment. And the scene where Harrison Ford finally has to Hulk out before his 5 minutes as the Red Hulk is cringe-inducing. With this cast alone, Captain African American should have been better than the Marvels, and it wasn't. And while this is just my opinion, there is some proof Captain America Brave New World receives the lowest cinema score ever for an MCU film, below the Eternals, Quantumania, and the Marvels. If you are expecting this film to address any of the MCU's open-ended plots, cameos, or post-credit scenes, don't get your hopes up. Again, cool, they finally addressed the giant celestial in the Indian Ocean, and it only took them 3 years, and it only took them 16 years to bring back the leader. But apparently they didn't feel the need to address the post-credit scene from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the now evil Sharon Carter as the power broker. Then there's the little problem of Black Captain America and Mexican Falcon seeing Tiamat for the first time, and Sam saying he'd never seen anything like it. So you're telling me Captain America must have just slept through the day Arishem, the giant celestial, showed up to judge humanity? What happened to former President Dermot Mulroney and his one-man war against the million Skrulls? That reminds me. What the hell happened to those 1 million Skrulls? And if Sam Wilson missed a Celestial, I'm guessing he probably missed them too. Hell, does Sam Wilson know that Nick Fury's married to a Skrull? Does he know his old buddy Rhodey was a girl Skrull? Maybe we'll find out in 3 to 16 years. I know there is next to nothing in the theaters right now, but do not waste your time watching this film. It's better spent paying taxes, paying parking tickets, getting parking tickets. Maybe set up that long overdue colonoscopy.
Cinema here in Germany is very expensive, you guys. Like, going to cinema is equivalent of going to a really fancy dinner, because when you buy the tickets alone and then you want to buy popcorn, you know, you want to buy a drink, oh my god, that, and you want to pay the tickets for your car. Yeah, that is a lot of money.
Because that will be time better spent.
Moon River.
Back to the comparison of Captain African American being a post-Snyder pre-Gun DC movie. That's exactly what it is. It's something that Disney Marvel deeply regretted greenlighting but were obligated to release, and that's exactly how it felt. What I was expecting was just another bad Disney Marvel film. I wasn't expecting one of the worst. And it's all through a catastrophic series of events, beginning but not ending with a horrible concept. It's just incompetent producers making incompetent decisions. Kevin Feige thought it was a good idea to make a sequel to The Falcon and the Winter Soldier by remaking Captain America and the Winter Soldier and calling it a Captain America sequel without Captain America, when in actuality it's a sequel to The Incredible Hulk without the Hulk, along with a bunch of god-awful directing, editing, and writing. And it shouldn't surprise anyone that a bunch of A-list actors just wanted to take a paycheck and get the fuck out as fast as I wanted to get out of the theater after watching this.
Honestly, I don't remember.
But hey, it looks like that Captain America sequel without Captain America, and it
this
surpassed
is really
the box office
honest. He's
projections.
not,
Captain
like,
America box
pretending.
office Brave New World opens to a bullish $100 million in the US, $192 million globally. Well done. That's only $20 million behind Ant-Man Quantumania's 4-day opening over the same time period 2 years ago, and $33 million behind its worldwide opening. Looks like you might make that money back for the reshoots. I'm rooting for you. This may be a bitter pill for Disney Marvel to swallow, but Steve Rogers is Captain America. I don't make the rules, I just make the observations. But there is some good news at the end of the movie.
They should have made
It
Bucky
says
Captain
America
America.
will return, so
Would
maybe
make
Steve
more
will come
sense.
back.
The best friend, you know. The best friend who knows Captain America the closest to him, you know, and who has a genuine reason to pour his heart into being a great Captain America, to make the late Captain America and the late friend of his be proud of him. Isn't that a bigger, like, I don't know. At least that's my opinion. I know he's a great Bucky and whatnot, but yeah, I always loved him. Yeah, definitely not watching this one.